Greetings, this is Coach Fleischer. Today we're going to be talking about single joint versus multi-joint contractions and more accurately movement patterns in exercise. And before we jump into that, I just want to get across, hey, we finished Module 1. You'll notice the slides now are switched from red to orange, which tells you we're in Module 2, because remember we're Roy G. Biv in this class, and we're into the orange. And to that end, that tells you you have your Check for Learning 1 from Module 1 should be completed at this point. Did you get it done? If not, go back in and take care of it. If you haven't, here's a quick little refresher. Do you recall what these are and what they do? Muscles, tendons, ligaments, bones, central nervous system. One makes the movement happen. Two of them are the connective tissue that connects everything. Bones are the levers. And the last one, the central nervous system, is the hard wiring in the body. If we look at body parts in general, we did the alphabetical version, right? We did arms, back, chest, core, legs, shoulders. There were 6 of them. And in this example, if you look at the gentleman to the right doing a bicep curl, that's a single joint, for sake of our lecture today, a single joint exercise working the biceps, which is part of the arm group. So when an individual is working out, they're working, say in this example, arms exclusively, but realize you have to have other muscles that come to the party to make this happen. As he's standing there and curling that bar up and the bar moves away from his center of gravity, then closer to his center of gravity as he goes through a range of motion, muscles on the back side of the body and the back of the shoulders have to fire to help stabilize to keep them from tipping over. So it's not as though it's exclusively just biceps. You'll realize stuff has to happen on the back of the body to help stabilize as well. But really what you're focusing on here are biceps, which are part of the arm group. This was general adaptation syndrome. I like to include homeostasis with my clients and with my athletes. People come in, they need to be warmed up, they need to be taken from homeostasis, that kind of at rest stage. Not true rest where they're sleeping or resting with their eyes open, laying on their back, but they're kind of in a rest mode and they have to be taken through, even in the context of a single workout, the alarm stage, having the right amount of stimulus to warm them up properly, the right amount of stimulus to elicit the training response I'm looking for. So I'm not overtraining an individual. When you're working with athletes, so often you're taking athletes right to that edge, of too much or just right. And so from a coaching point, I always have to be cognizant of how hard I'm pushing my athletes and what kind of volume and what kind of workload I have with my athletes. So I'm not pushing them too much and taking them into an overtrained state. The key always is to have the right amount of stimulus to elicit just the right training response that you want. All right, you ready for it? Single joint, multi-joint, here we go. When you look at workout movement patterns and we think of the individual who was doing bicep curls earlier in that one picture, that was a single joint exercise and that person was working the muscles in the arm, specifically the biceps. Now, if we ask that individual to do a lat pull down, they're still using the biceps because in a lat pull down you are articulating the elbow joint, you are extending the elbow joint and flexing the elbow joint as you contract the bicep. But you have more muscle that's being invited to the party because you're doing a lat pull down, which is a multi-joint exercise, and it works back. So the muscles in the arm almost become secondary to the primary muscles you're trying to work on, which are the muscles in the back. Single joint, multi-joint exercises, both are great. Neither one is better than the other, but just realize when you work multi-joint exercises, you're working more muscle, right? Because you have multiple joints moving. So as a result, you know that with multiple joints moving, more muscle is being utilized to move those joints. If we compare the two and we look at, say, a dumbbell chest press with a fly, or a side raise with a shoulder press, a bicep curl with a lat pull down, etc., you can see with the single joint exercises, you're incorporating some of the movement itself into these exercises. In the case of a chest press versus dumbbell fly, your elbow is staying static. You're not moving, flexing, or extending the elbow in a dumbbell fly, but there's muscles that have to work to help stabilize the elbow. So it's almost kind of a misnomer to say single joint or just one muscle group is working, because other muscles always have to come to the party to make it happen. And like the bicep curl I mentioned earlier, muscles on the back side of the body and the back of the shoulders, those have to fire to help stabilize. So keep in mind, You're going to have those primary muscles you're trying to work, whether it's single joint or multi-joint, but you're going to have secondary muscles that come in to help with body stabilization or articulation of a joint. And if we look at this and we go ahead and fire this lat pull down up, we know in this lat pull down we're going to have, let me pause it once it fires up here, you're going to have elbow flexion, elbow extension. So as this person is going through this lat pull down, our main muscle group we're working here is back, right? B for back. But the A, arms, are getting some work because you can see the flexion of the elbow to extension of the elbow, flexion of the elbow to extension. And in that example, it's pretty evident, right? You know this is articulating the shoulder, but you know the elbows are also articulating. So this is a great example of while you're trying to work a primary muscle group, the secondary muscle group has to work. And even like a third order muscle group has to work to help you hang on to the bar. Muscles in the midsection have to help you stabilize. So there's a number of things that go on. So realize, think of it in terms of rank order, what you're trying to work on. I'm trying to work back here. Okay, great. I'm trying to work back, but biceps are going to get worked as well. So part of that too is or are my forearms are going to be worked. So think of this in terms of all the different things that come together to make this happen when you have a multi-joint exercise. Okay, finish out there. So what I want you to do when you go ahead and get your workout today, realize most of what we do is centered around kind of calisthenic-based exercise. That's just the nature of our course in terms of exercise being delivered to you guys remotely, and many of you don't have access to a gym. So as you're working out, just think through these multi-joint exercises and how they're playing out and what muscle groups, arms, back, chest, core, legs, shoulders, which ones are being utilized for your workout. All right, guys, go on, have a great workout, and I'll catch you later.